All right, our next spot, one of my favorite places in New York to visit, is Letchworth State Park. And this has beautiful views of the Genesee River and a gorge or a canyon that it carved out. There is an approximate location of Letchworth. So we're going to, again, figure out what landscape region Letchworth is in. So we're going to go back to page 2 of your reference table. This is page 3 we're on right now. And it's pretty clear Letchworth State Park is again in the Allegheny Plateau. So we're spending a lot of time there for this presentation. So here we are, a Google map view of the Genesee River in part of Letchworth State Park. And the Genesee River has carried out weathering erosion on the plateau. So weathering and erosion lowers the land. Weathering breaks down the rock, erosion transports those broken rock fragments away. And it's created a magnificent gorge in the process over years and years of time. We're going to be learning how to find out the low spot on a map, and we're going to be determining the lowest spot for that river over there. The contour interval is 40 feet per line, so we're going to be adding 40 feet if we're going up, or subtracting 40 feet if we're going down for each line we cross. And we're going to be going down right now. So on the bottom of your map there, towards the center, you can see an 800-foot contour line on both sides of the river. We're going to jump down now to 760. So we went down 40 feet because we're heading down to the river, and the contour interval is 40 feet per line. So the next line down, you should be able to figure out 760 minus 40 is 720 feet. And that's the last line that is listed here. So we don't have a line for 680, which means that the bottom of this river can't be 680. However, it has to be below 720 because the river is not on the 720-foot line. So the lowest it could be is 681 feet, which is one above the line that wasn't drawn in. So again, 720 minus another 40 gives us 680, but that line's not drawn, so the lowest this river could be is 681. But in actuality, it could be anywhere between the lowest and the highest it could be. So it has to be below 720, which is 719. It has to be above 680, which is 681, so our elevation can be anywhere between 681 and 719 feet. The other thing to point out is when you see a river on a contour map, realize it's going to be the low spot on the map because weathering and erosion carved it down. So all those contour lines are sloping downward or in a downward direction towards the river. So that'll help you when you're trying to interpret these maps. Now, this is the Google Earth view of that, and we can see how the river has lowered the plateau due to weathering and erosion, and it's the low spot on the map. And both sides are sloping down towards the river. This is a little bit of a closer up view, but it's showing the same thing, how the river is a low spot, and the river has carved out a valley in the plateau. And here's a nice shot of the Genesee River as it flows through Letchworth State Park, a beautiful place to visit and see earth science in action. We're off to another one of my favorite places in New York State, the Catskills. And we're headed there to observe another important idea about rivers and contour lines. And the Catskills are part of the Allegheny Plateau again. It's been separated out because it's actually a very important area in terms of the history or the geologic history of the area. The Catskills are a plateau that was weathered and eroded by glaciers during the last ice age. Now, the Catskills are usually referred to as the Catskill Mountains, but technically they're not, because they didn't form from plate tectonics. They didn't form from volcanoes erupting or plates crashing together. They're actually a plateau that has been carved out by glaciers. So all the valleys have been carved out by glaciers and now currently by streams. So here is another view of the Catskills, and we can see some streams running through there. And water is going to flow downhill from higher elevation to lower elevation due to gravity. And it's going to flow downhill in all directions from the peaks on these mountains. So here is a contour map of the same area as the previous image, and we can see the streams better in this map view. And you can see there are streams on both sides of the ridge, which is running through the middle of your map. Now, the important thing to know here is that when a contour line meets a river, it's going to bend. And it's always going to bend in the uphill direction, which creates a V or a U-shaped pattern in the contour line. So it's helpful. The V's or the U's in the map, sometimes they look like V's, sometimes they look more like U's. They're always going to point up. So the river on the left side is, I should say the contour lines on the left side are pointing uphill in an easterly direction, and the contour lines on the right side of that ridge are pointing uphill in a southwest direction. However, there are rivers that created that pattern of contour lines. They're not flowing that direction because rivers don't flow up, right? They flow down. So the river on the left side is going to be flowing not east, but west. So to answer those questions, first you need to figure out which way the contour lines are pointing, and then the river flows the opposite direction. And you should be able to figure out that Panther Kill River on the right side, the uphill direction is southwest, so the Panther Kill is flowing downhill in a northeasterly direction.